1, 2, 3. The floor is a monster, to put it politely. Susan carved a quarter-inch scale model of the lava, what she wanted it to look like, and then she sent it off to a studio in New York, and they 3D scanned it. What I was able to do is basically use this to sort of try to guess all the different shapes to figure out, does this one need to ramp up? Does it need to be tilted? Yeah, so you can see, this is the model piece.
The set feels like it's in a landscape. I put it in what I'm calling a volcanic landscape. It feels it's organic, but there's a real sense something has happened, something has burnt, something has ravaged the landscape.
The floor looks like dried lava. And I think that speaks a lot to where our play is, because it's these string of murders, sacrifices, whatever, are like this explosion of hot lava that is like now settling over the community, and they have to deal with it before anything could possibly grow from it.
So as you can see, this is the beginnings of the skeleton of the ORESTEIA deck, the floor. So what we've done is we've made sort of substructures of plywood and wood, and then our illustrious painters, Kristen and Sally is the charge, will begin to grind and cut and hack at it for days on end. After which we will be putting on a product that we're trying out for the first time, I believe, which is basically the roll-on. If you look at a truck bed liner, the rubber on that is rolled on. We're going to roll the whole deck in that, and then she's going to paint it.
The house of Atreus, which is the big figure in the set, feels like an oven, a reliquary, a place that's about to potentially explode. And in fact, there are moments, I think, that it does explode.
Again. 3, 2, 1. We're trying to use a confetti cannon to shoot a curtain out of a window that's going to act as a sail and as blood and as, a lot of different elements. So it's a lot of experiments, a lot of making things up. Talking to vendors is always fun, because they're like, how are you going to use it? And we say, you won't understand, just let us have the thing and we'll figure it out from there.
In Ellen's first act, which is the Agamemnon story, she flashes back to Iphigenia, which is this moment when Agamemnon, who is the king, sacrifices his daughter to the gods in order to have the winds blow, in order to be able to set sail for the Trojan War. And that sacrifice sets off a chain of events that affect the family, this sort of royal leading family, but also ripple out to the entire society.
What we're trying to do is to get the effect of blood. So instead of using all blood on stage, I think we're going to sub in some fabrics for the blood of dogs.
There are a couple industrial movie bloods that we tend to use. So right now we're looking at that as a start, to use that as our base, and then we're going to do our best to stretch it out. And there's always the conflict between stickiness and slipperiness, which we're going to have to settle with some tests that we'll be doing next week on top of the fabrics and on top of the deck.
What everybody has in their kitchen.
That was the problem. Is no offense, out of 8, there's no way all 8 hit every time.
But we also did not hit the audience. We hit the front of the stage.
I'm more concerned about big pools that are slippery, whereas by the time people step through little bits of them, they'll be sticky as opposed to slippery because it'll be 5 minutes later.
100 feet before they get off stage.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we have towels and stuff off stage for them to get it off their feet. So.
Yeah, and truly, if you can kind of establish ways for them to be able to step on that first.
Yeah.
Even if it's we can help.
But also, all the steps up and down the stage, off the stage will be carpeted, so that'll suck up a little bit.
And the elevator still looks like a crime scene after Rick, so it doesn't actually matter if we get more blood in there.
I actually was in a taxi cab the other day and saying, well, we're talking about buckets of blood. No, and I could see the driver.
Just go.
Oh, sorry. So the same thing. We're talking about you dying so casually.
Yeah.
So to create the world of the ORESTEIA, I was creating a culture of a royal family. Mostly we see them in the middle of the night as they are having nightmares, they're dreaming. So they're almost never in a moment when they're dressed in their royal attire, but instead they're at a moment that they've been caught. So you'll see Agamemnon and Clytemnestra both at one point at the height of their power, but mostly they're caught off guard.
Yeah.
I just had an idea though. I wonder if we should be looking at black sandals, because then it's against the floor, and what we'll see is her flesh against black instead of the light colored sandal. So that might be something that we'll ask to do. So okay, great.
Okay.
I think it looks really beautiful.
Oh, it's denim.
And you will be covered with blood.
Right.
So
Helps the look.
right.
She's gonna have like 3 to 4 different looks. She gets in this nice, elegant updo to like greet him and has this pretty gown and she greets him. And then there's one that's like total disaster. I just killed my husband.
Clytemnestra starts the play having woken up from a bad dream. And then she starts Act 2 having woken up from a bad dream too. But 10 years have gone by in between, and we come to understand that she's been having bad dreams for 10 years, basically since her daughter Iphigenia was killed.
To work on the sets and the clothes is an important part, because there's no separation between the physical world and the people who are living in it. So I can have in my head all the time the bits and pieces of the world, of the physical world, and the way that the actors are going to interface with that world.
In this play, I think it's a lot about the environment. It's about the wind that takes Agamemnon off to war and the wind that brings him back, the fire that announces his arrival. It's about what does pre-dawn in this world feel like, because it's not a completely realistic world.
The first day I walk onto set, whether the set is being built or not, it's almost a religious experience. You know, it's this, so much has gone into the building of that space. The size and scope of the play kind of demands that largeness, you know, and I'm excited to get to play in that kind of scale.
Mm-hmm.